Welcome back to World Crisis Radio. We're discussing the idea, which has emerged now from a number of quarters, of a march on Wall Street featuring protest against Goldman Sachs, but a protest with teeth, a protest with program and content and substance. The 1% Tobin tax on the speculative turnover, the flows of hot money by these globalized finance oligarchs who are the principal marplots in civilization at the present time. And, of course, the AFL-CIO has launched a campaign for a small and narrowly defined Tobin tax, but a Tobin tax nevertheless. That would be a 1 mil tax on stock turnovers. Make it broader. Make it derivatives, stocks, bonds, commodities, foreign exchange, everything basically that goes across these exchanges. It's a sales tax. Everybody pays it. 1%. We pay between 5 and 10. Dear bankers, you talk of shared sacrifice. So sacrifice already. Sacrifice 1% of your flash trading and your high-frequency trading and your other program trading strategies. The FFL-CIO is one version, and they are now joined by Robert Kuttner. Robert Kuttner is a fixture in the left liberal world. This is the American Prospect. He has access to The Nation and groups like this. He's you can see him together with the various Boros sages and Katrina vanden Heuvel's of the world. But he's now proposing a more robust version. It looks like he's interested in making it somewhat bigger. I'm not sure he says exactly how much it should be, a very small tax, and that this could be on, it would be a universal financial transaction tax. Now, he estimates hundreds of billions of dollars per year, and I think that's certainly true, but it's a lowball estimate. If we estimate total U.S. financial turnover, including derivatives, as somewhere between 1 quadrillion and 2 quadrillion per year, and I tend towards 2 quadrillion perhaps up, then if it's a 1% Tobin tax, that's going to get you 20 trillion of income. On 2 quadrillion, you get 20 trillion. 10 trillion for the feds, 10 trillion for the states. Now, that wouldn't last forever. That would tend to diminish as the life went out of the booze for the speculators, as speculation became less attractive, but it would continue to bring in substantial amounts. Kuttner talks about it from the point of view of a tax that could do a great deal for the hard-pressed deficits of the federal and state governments, and also it would provide what is totally absent today, progressive populism. He says, yes, indeed, progressive populism, some way to strike back against the monstrous excesses, crimes, arrogance, and looting by Wall Street. The Democratic administration today shovels trillions, 24 trillion, Kuttner, trillions to Wall Street under the leadership of Geithner, Summers, and Barkey Obama, the Wall Street puppet. So therefore, the Tobin tax. And he quotes, of course, Adair Turner, the head of the British Financial Services Authority, interested in the idea, and in the German election campaign, which is now heading towards its culmination next Sunday, Sunday the 27th, Germany votes. Looks like Merkel will win, but the finance minister, Per Steinbrück, this is the finance minister of Germany, SPD, called for a Tobin tax. The French government has called for a Tobin tax. Watch out. They're talking about a Tobin tax on financial transactions that would flow into some IMF, International Monetary Fund, or World Bank coffer that would be used to bail out bankrupt investments in the third world, the London Club, Paris Club debt towards sub-Saharan Africa. Forget about that. Those countries get a debt moratorium. That stuff is canceled, written off, no pay. We need the Tobin tax here as a means of national policy, of national strength, of building up the power of the United States and other countries to fight the world economic depression. And the only way you fight depression is to cut the power of the finance oligarchs down to size. Where are you going to start? Here's a good place to start. And I appeal to all libertarians, right-wingers, if you don't want to be flayed alive by Wall Street. Here's your chance. If you're a Tea Party protester, this is the ticket for you. And you don't like it because it's a tax? Well, get real. There are going to be taxes. The only question with taxation is who's going to pay? Which social groups? Get some class consciousness. Get wise. Don't be a sucker. Don't be a easy mark for Wall Street. And these bankers, they're talking about shared sacrifice. We've also got then this, even the tactic. The tactic has emerged from a number of conference calls, but the tactic has also been endorsed on the air by this guy Norman Goldman. He calls himself Norman Goldman. You might have heard him. He came on this week to replace Ed Schultz, unfortunately the principal left-wing talk radio honcho, right now operating from Rockefeller Plaza. So essentially an Obama acolyte, Ed Schultz, has got Norman Goldman in as his replacement, and Norman Goldman, polemicizing with the Tea Party protesters, said to them, why go to Washington? Why don't you march on Wall Street? So I say to Norman Goldman, great, Norman, why don't you put your money where your mouth is and support a march on Goldman Sachs? But again, not just that we don't like Goldman Sachs and Goldman Sachs is bad. This is widely known. What are you going to do about it? What's the program? What's the agitational thrust? 1% Tobin tax on all the trades that Goldman Sachs makes, and not just them, but Citibank and J.P. Morgan Chase. These are the people who stole $700 billion from you in the bailout. And I'm talking bailout, not stimulus. Stimulus is a mixed bag. A lot, about, half of it probably okay, or maybe 1/3 or 40%. But when it gets to the bailout is totally wrong, totally to be rejected. It's in the same category with cap and trade, cap and tax. But in this case, the bailout, we're now getting the first anniversary of the bailout, which emerged from that awful conspiratorial meeting in Geithner's office with Paulson, with Pandit the Bandit of Citibank, with Diamond of Chase, J.P. Morgan Chase, with Ken Lewis of Bank of America, with Thane of Merrill Lynch, with Mack of Morgan Stanley, with others, Bank of New York Mellon, largest custodial trust bank in the world with almost $30 trillion under management. They were there too. That's one of the hearts of the establishment. Wells Fargo also involved. That was a conspiratorial meeting, and out of that came the idea that the taxpayer should pay for the derivatives bubble. And, of course, it does not work. The derivatives bubble cannot be maintained. So there is a thrust. The Tea Party people would be well advised to take this under consideration. I doubt they will because they've fallen under the control of desperate Republican demagogues. We'll be back in a minute.